my fellow risers. Today was a completely nothing day. I just lied in bed, either slept or watched TV or whatever else. And then this guy that I mentioned in one of my previous, or in yesterday's vlog, actually came by the camp. I got to get to the shooting, so we're gonna talk about the shooting. But let me just say, he came out of the camp. And Neo's gotten really good at only barking if someone actually comes out of the camp. He's gotten really, really good, and I'm really, really proud of him. My heart is actually sort of warming or swelling right now thinking about that, because I don't think I've ever taken time to appreciate the progress that he has made. I don't think that I take enough time. Fucking son. So he came out of the camp, and yeah, nothing really to say about that conversation. So I'm about to go take a shower. Like right now, I'm just waiting for Julian to get back to the Maiden. So I'm scrolling through YouTube, trying to find some content to consume while I wait. And I see that there's been a shooting. And I was just Googling mass shootings this morning because I had seen a video about a shooting from years ago of like 3 people at this house party. So yeah, 10 people, I think, were killed today in Colorado. And in the BBC video where they're breaking this news, the guy says, the newscaster, the reporter, whatever you call him, says,
But this is the second mass shooting in this country in the space of a week, and it has already prompted calls for a new national conversation about gun violence.
What's the point in having a conversation? I would bet that 10% of conversations are productive among humans. I mean, 10% of conversations which 2 people don't agree. Maybe less. One reason is because of this bullshit entitlement to an opinion without sort of the fulfilling of the responsibility that comes with having an opinion, that you have to understand the matter, you have to doubt yourself, you have to listen to the alternatives, the other possibilities, the people who tell you that you're wrong. And people don't do that. So the opinion entitlement, most people don't deserve to ever have an opinion, let alone share it. Well, no, really, the sharing is the problem. So one thing is this entitlement to an opinion by people who aren't going to actually reflect, who aren't going to think about it. And that's everybody, because some people who may be new to my channel may think that I'm talking about a certain subset of humanity who is dumb. No, we all are. There's some people that we see as dumb because they're not in our camp, because they disagree with us, and they see us as dumb. And we're both right. We're all dumb. None of us is reasonable. We all just have these opinions that we justify in whatever bullshit way that we can in order to continue to be right. I tweeted the other day, yeah, I want to be right. The difference between me and you is that you think you already are right. All right, so the first thing is the entitlement to an opinion. We're just going to keep this at 5 minutes because whatever. The second thing is just our inability to discuss things. Our inability to say, look, here's why I think this. Show me where I'm wrong. Or let me listen to why you think that. And if I see any errors, if I actually see errors, not just you misused the word and so then my brain jumps on it as, you know, some way to win the argument. No, an actual reasoning or informational error. And I'm going to try to just identify, I mean, my unconscious is going to show me all these bullshit errors as well, but consciously I'm going to try to be responsible, and I'm going to say, okay, we're going to let them off the hook on that because that's not an important error. That's just maybe semantics or whatever. But here is something that actually sort of negates their conclusion. And that's what we should now discuss. And we should both try to make progress on that and try to move forward. No, we're just going to keep it at 5 minutes. But the first thing is this bullshit entitlement to opinion. The second thing is our inability to discuss things. And the third thing is our complete disregard for truth and evidence. Honestly, if you're religious, for instance, and you want to have the gun conversation with me, I'm not interested. Because religion is one of the easiest ways you can know how important information and evidence is to someone. Wow, it's exhausting. People are dying because I don't know how to communicate with you guys that we're all dumb and that we all need to doubt ourselves and that we all need to be empirical, reasonable, imaginative, and skeptical, particularly of ourselves. Eris. Out. Wait, actually, we're not done. So I was taking my shower, and I realized that I was actually terribly wrong about something. Not something I said in this video, although I'm sure I've been wrong about many things. At the Maiden, there's a guy there that's named Franck. The Maiden is owned, well, it's owned by the mairie of Paris. It's owned by Paris. But well, I don't exactly know how it works. But there's a guy named Johan who I guess is sort of the owner. And he was there at the Maiden yesterday. and he was having a meeting with this Frank guy and Max, one of the managers. Now, Frank's a real nice guy. He's helped me out a lot. He also sort of talks a lot of shit, complains a lot, and but he's a pretty nice guy. The thing is, though, that sometimes he does forget to like for instance, he'll say that he's gonna call me when he arrives at the Maiden, and then he won't come, or he just won't call me. Well, I don't care if whether or not he comes. It's really about the calling. Or the other day, we were supposed to meet at 8:30 in the morning. As soon as he said that, I told him I might be 15 minutes late. I get there at 8:41, and he shows up around 9:15, 9:30. So I was like, hey, bro, you could have said that you were going to be late, because I could have walked the dogs for longer. Last night, Julian and I, we go by the Maiden. Johan is there. He's having this meeting with Frank and Max. Julian goes into the room where they're having the meeting, and he pokes his head in and he says,
"Can we come in?"
Johan says, "Sure." So we go in. Julian takes a seat. I ask Johan, "Can I sit?" He says, "Sure." So we sit, kind of have awkward conversation for a couple of minutes, and then he says,
"Well, all right. Well, I'm gonna, finish my debrief with Frank and Max."
So we take our cue and we leave. And that started to annoy me. It's like, why'd you say that we could come in? And so I was thinking about that today as I'm going to take my shower. And I was thinking about adding to my 5-minute video. As you can see, I've decided to do it. But not to say what I was planning to say. What I was planning to say is that, I was disappointed in this guy. I don't know why I expected more from a soapy. But I just thought, he's a kind of young guy. He's probably in his early 50s actually. But he owns a restaurant. But he kind of looks young. He owns a restaurant, he has a house down in Nancy, maybe he's gonna be smart and stuff like that. And the fucking guy, as a means of being polite, I guess, tells us we can come into a room, tells us we can sit down, and then once we get comfortable says, all right, I gotta finish this meeting. You should have just said that at the beginning, and so I mentioned that to Frank today. So Frank calls me this morning. 9:15 a.m. I've been awake for about an hour. He says,
"Oh, did I wake you?"
I say no. He says, because he had said that he was coming to the Maiden today, and so he's giving me this call, and I said, okay, yeah, I'll come by and I'll say hello, maybe in like an hour. I'm just gonna walk the dogs. I did not get out of bed. I did not walk the dogs. So I go by at about 5 p.m. He sees me. He's working on the garden or something, and he says,
"So how was the walk with the dogs?"
And he kind of says in kind of a funny way, and I was like, okay, I see. Yeah, I guess you're upset that I didn't come by and say hello. And also it's occurring to me that maybe he had called me because then I would come by and say hello, he would explain what he's doing, and then I would help him out. And I fucking hate that. If you need help, just ask. If you want help, just ask. If you want to let me help, just ask. But I don't know whether that's what was happening. So I tell him, oh no walk, I've just been in bed all day. And then I mentioned to him as he goes to let me in to take a shower, I mentioned to him that was kind of frustrating that yesterday Johan says, hey, come in, and then, but they hadn't finished the meeting. And he says,
always trying to be polite.
And so I was going to make a video about how stupid that is, about this politeness bullshit. And then as I'm getting into my shower, I have a few interesting thoughts. One of which is, wait a minute, I'm completely wrong. He wasn't necessarily just being a shithead, namby-pamby soapy when he invited us in, even though he had to finish the meeting. We asked to come in. He may have thought that we had something that we wanted to talk about specifically, because Julian wants a contract there, and he knows that I interviewed to work there and that they were going to take me on before they shut down. So he may have thought that we came in to speak to him because he isn't often on the premises. Then we sit down, we're just making mindless chatter. And even if we didn't have something specific to talk about, okay, if they want to say hello, yeah, that's fine, I can say hello, but then and then I'm gonna get back to my meeting. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. So I was completely wrong, completely. I can't find any way in which I was right. He was honest. He said, yes, you can come in. Yes, you can sit down. Implied we can have a couple minutes of chat. It wasn't implied that we could sit there all night. And then, as we took our cue and as we left, Julian said,
okay, see you another day.
And Johan said,
or maybe later.
But then I was worried about Rahi, so I left to go to Richard's, and Julian left because it was about to be curfew to go where he was going to sleep last night. Completely wrong. And that made me come up with something, which is that the difference between you and me is not only that we both want to be right, except you think you already are right, but also you want to feel right. I want to actually be right. And you know what the best way to be right is? Is to keep checking over and over and over again. To let your unconscious replay situations, beliefs, whatever, looking for ways in which you might be wrong, looking for ways in which someone else might be right. That's what happened with the tick yesterday. I would have had to fucking go to the vet. If I was this arrogant shithead like you are, I'd be like, no, that's not a tick, because I didn't believe it was a tick. It looked nothing like a tick. Then the vet said it was a tick, and no, even knowing the vet said it was a tick, I said, no, it's not a tick. But then I hang up and I'm like, I want to be right? So I need to check, because they probably know what they're talking about, actually. So I check, I Google images. Oh, okay. So you have to be aware of your biases, your heuristics. It was a little bit embarrassing to be kicked out of this room. And so, of course, part of my mind is gonna find a way in which he's an asshole for that. The best way to be right is to know that the brain is not an intellectual organ. It's just a fucking organ. Just like everything else built to maintain life. Not built to answer the big questions in the world. And the sooner you really, really, really realize that, well, I don't know specifically what's gonna happen. The world's gonna be a lot better place. It's gonna look nothing like this. I mean, I conversations every day. I'm like, who are these people? Non-player characters, all of you. It's like, how are we having conversation? You're telling me, like, I'm telling you I think you might be wrong, and how are we not discussing that? How do you just keep continuing with your shit while I'm saying that I think that it's shit? I gotta make like a satirical video, like how to be right, or how to always be right. That might be inaccurate. How to be right. And basically, the honest advice is, doubt yourself. Listen to other people. Because, you go into the video thinking it's gonna be about like how to win arguments or something. Fuck winning arguments. Try to know truth. Fuck off.